What is up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Ford Era. You got me, Solomon, here, and as you can see, we got Goldust behind me, and we are still over here at CA Conversions. These are the Allison conversion specialists, and we just put an Allison transmission behind Goldust. It's all done. Running, driving, everything. So right now, Matthew still has to do some testing, and he's setting some different things. So we're gonna show you when we do all of that kind of stuff, and then we're gonna be heading back to Miami. I'm gonna show you that too, so enjoy. All right, so got the motor for the computer switched out in the engine compartment. Now we're going back out. And Timmy said it was cold in the back, so he's sitting in here on the floor with me. Alright guys, so we've been trying to figure out what exactly the leak is. We're not sure if it's the power steering pump or if it's the transmission cooler lines that are going to the front. It's actually pretty late. The guys have been working since 8 a.m. on this, so we're gonna be back in the morning, figure this out, and then head home. So I just wanted to give you an update. Me and Simi are heading to the hotel. Catch you guys tomorrow. Alright guys, next morning, we're back over here, and as you can see, all the leaks leaked themselves. So we think that it's the transmission cooler lines. If you see, let me show you the barbs on how, yeah, so it's just got like this compression fitting on the fronts of it, and we think that those compression fittings aren't that great. So what we're gonna do is put it up on the lift, going to replace the lines completely with something that is better. And then we're also gonna put in a derailleur bypass, which will bypass or something like that, which will help get the transmission cooler up to temperature. Because I've got that Mishimoto cooler on there, it's actually keeping it too cold, which is good once you're using it, but we need to set some stuff and it needs to get to like 140 degrees. So we're gonna pull her back on the lift right now, and I'm gonna show you what all we do. Keep alive though. Runs and drives with some leaks. All right, so we have it up on the lift. We're gonna see exactly where the leak is, hopefully. So what we're thinking is it's either this steering box or right on top of it, the cooler lines.
You in park?
Oh yeah, you're not in park.
That'll do it.
So we couldn't figure out on the lift, so we figured maybe the truck needs tension. So we're pulling it outside right now. We'll drive it a little bit, and then hopefully we can figure out where the leak is and address it. Hey, look, she runs and drives at least. Gotta always stay positive. Alright, we're gonna let her get the temperature. All right, well, we just got back. And the guys that are in front of the truck are like, oh, yeah, leak's back.
You guys want that cardboard?
Yeah, let's slide the cardboard under here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely those cooler lines.
Well, at least we figured it out. It's the cooler lines. All right, guys, wanted to give you an update. So we figured out that it's the cooler lines, so we're replacing the lines right now. And then we're also adding in this derailleur.
Just wiggle it.
What exactly is this thing?
It's a It's called a Durali, a thermostatic bypass. It's set at 180 degrees. Basically, it works kind of like a an engine thermostat. So once it hits 180 or whatever, it'll open up, and then it'll allow your coolant from your transmission to your cooler to flow. Otherwise, it's what's known as a 90-10. So 90% of the fluid is just going to come into this, turn around and go right back into the transmission. 10% will go through the cooler. Once it opens, then it's 100% through the cooler. But it just helps you bring your vehicle up to temp quicker, which is actually better for your transmission, because running them cold isn't great. You know, fluid's thicker, things are applying slower. Just bringing them up to temp is better.
Awesome. Well, heck yeah, we got a little bit of Durali, and we're gonna put those new lines on, and we're hoping that that is the solution. So once we knock all this out and go for a ride, I'll let you guys know. Hopefully we fixed the issue. We put all new lines and fittings on, and then we went to this Durali, whatever. Thermostatic bypass. Hunter's over there finishing to tighten up the last two lines, so fully replaced. And we should have no other reasons of why this thing leaks. It might still be the power steering. Gear has a little bit of a leak, but yesterday when we filled back up the reservoir thinking that it spewed out all that fluid, the reservoir was almost full. So it makes us think it was a trans, and the trans was a little bit low on fluid. So we're gonna add all the fluids in right now. The guys are pulling it back off the lift, and hopefully we have no issues. Also, that Durali bypass thing is going to help us get up to temperature fast, because we were having trouble getting to temperature because that Mishimoto cooler really keeps it cool, and the Allison transmission dissipates heat really well. So it's great because you don't want your transmission to get hot, but it's not so great when we need the transmission to be at 140 degrees, so that way we can, or he can, set all the EDAPs and all that kind of jazz. So truck's coming down, and then we're gonna go for a test drive. We'll see you there. Fixed. We're taking it literally right now on a test drive, and hopefully everything is good on this test drive, and then we can load up and head home. Alright guys, so we're back in the truck. It's up to temperature, and we're going to be setting some stuff. So we got Dave in here with us today.
Got you.
So Dave, what are we doing exactly?
We are setting the preliminary adapt for the Allison. And all that does is set your throttle, your torque demand to the Allison.
Guys are still in the truck. We just came back from that test drive, and holy crap, the most he even did was 75% throttle, and this thing is nuts. Just, it really needs to get tuned. There's way too much fuel. The pump needs to get turned down, or everything just needs to get evened out. But right now it's burning fuel like crazy. That's why you got all the black smoke. As we can see, no leak on nothing, which is great. So right now, gonna get the F350 hooked back up to the trailer, load this bad boy up, and head home. So we'll see you there. All right, guys, so we got the truck all loaded up. It's all strapped down. I'll show you guys my strap job over here. So we got chains and we got straps for the front. And then out back, we got chains and binders. She shouldn't go nowhere. We even double checked it with the homie Matt. We know Matt knows how to strap some stuff down. So right now we're gonna go say bye to all the guys. And actually I'm gonna try to see if Dave wants to give us a tour, because I'm curious to see how different he views this place versus his wife Casey. So I'm gonna see if I could do that, and if I could, I'll see you there. All right, so Dave said he's in on a tour. So where are we gonna start?
Well, I'll start over here and I'll show you different things that we make. We've got transfer case adapters. This is for the older Allison, which has the round tail housing. That's basically 2010 and older. 2011 they went to the Magnum transfer case, and the back of the transmission shaped like that opposed to the round. So we've got the transfer case adapter. This one here is specifically made for a Ford 205 transfer case. The shift linkage actually has to go through here, so we had to move the speed sensor over. And then what goes with it is we've got reluctor rings for all of the different transfer cases. That reads your output speed. That goes between the transmission and the transfer case. And then what we have is, well, like this here is a Dodge 205. We do it in both 2929 and 2923. So there were two different versions, the manual and the automatic. Reluctor rings built right into it. And then from there we've got, these are our hardened inputs for the transmission. I keep these up here because the guys can take the coupling shafts for the transfer case and they can actually go through and fit them all up and make sure they all fit before they go out, so that there's no mistakes. If something went crazy in heat treating or machining or whatever, everything is verified. But we do them for all the Dodge transfer cases and all the Ford transfer cases. We've got, like this one here is 2934, so it's 29 spline on the Allison, 34 for the Ford transfer case.
Nice.
And just recently we went into a 2930 or 3433. So for that same transfer case, we've got it now for the newer transmission with 33 spline output.
Nice.
So we've got all that, and then we keep stock on kind of everything. We've got all our adapters and flex plates and so forth. On the other side, we've got
all the coolant bypasses.
Coolant bypasses. These are the speed sensor adapters for the bell housing from 2007 up, because they don't have one. Got all our bolt kits and fittings. Then over here we've got all the different brackets for shift linkage. Like this is 8902 Dodge. It takes that and then some other pieces. You get into 03 to 7 and on up the line, and we've got all of the cable brackets. Plug the cable in, hook it up to the transmission. And then on the other end, we've got an adjustable arm that goes on the transmission. Then you can move your cable up and down so that the geometry on the shifter on the column matches the geometry of the rooster comb in the transmission.
Okay.
So there's no guessing what it's going to do.
That is
So we've got all that. These are our new C2 300M hubs up here. And then, look here. That's a Cummins adapter. That's actually that one is actually a old 7.3 that's been sitting around. 7.3 Ford. We do them for everything from the 6973 IDI, 73664 Power Stroke, all the Cummins, and we do all the SAE, which is the industrial. So we can take any of those basically, and we do a lot of GM gas motors too. Guys want to put the Allison behind them, and GM has never changed the back. So the pilot for the torque converter is the same.
Really?
Even down to the 4.3 I've got on a test bench over here. And the offset is proper for the torque converter. Literally, you bolt it right up.
Wow.
There's just nothing to it. So we got all that stuff. This is the load that just came in. We're getting those together. So, and then as you go down here, this is a 4BT I'm getting ready to build to put in our 07 Jeep. And then in the Jeep, we're also going to be building an adapter to bolt the Allison up to the 5.7 Hemi.
Nice.
Hellcats and so forth, so it'll actually, we'll be able to run the Allison on those too.
Nice.
And these are actually brand new Cummins 215 horse 6 BTs.
Brand new.
Yep.
And these things look beautiful.
Oh, they run sweet. These things just, I mean, yeah, they're awesome. They just run so smooth, so nice. So we've got those. This fire truck, the fire truck is equipped totally different than a normal F550. It had a 6-speed manual, and because the back of the motor was different, I just went and bought a 6.0 motor just to see what the differences were, so we can get these things done from Miami. And then we've got cores. These are transmission cores.
So pretty much all you use on this is the case, right?
Well, what we do is we use any of the good hard parts and we use the case. We put all new pans on them. When we do the transmissions, we remanufacture, we don't rebuild. So rather than reusing wearable parts, we replace everything. When you get a transmission, it's sandblasted, powder coated, new zinc plated bolts put together. Internal wise, it has new friction steels, bearings, bushings. All of the electronics are new. We don't reuse even if they test, because we don't bother to test. We throw it out and we put all brand new pan harness. We reset everything to Allison spec. Every bolt's tightened with a torque wrench. And then from there it goes on the dyno and actually gets run through all the gears, checking all the pressures to make sure everything's working properly. Because we don't want any issues. I don't want warranties. One, they're a headache for a customer to deal with, and two, nobody pays you to do it a second time.
Yeah.
All you do is spend money.
Yeah.
So we do everything we can to ensure that when an order goes out, everything is 100% correct. A new test bench I'm building now will be able to take all the electronics and we can verify our programming, make sure the tap shift works, the indicator, plug the harness in, plug the computer in, and then we're actually going to start the motor, run a transmission with the electronics so we know everything is wired, something didn't get crossed over or something isn't correct. So everything here in the next couple weeks, literally everything here is double checked before it goes out.
Awesome.
Because the last thing I want is when you call, first thing I think is, oops, what did we do? Where did we screw up? I want it to the point where when you call and you have an issue, we can say, okay, where did you start? What were you doing? Did you do this and this and this? Rather than start guessing, oh, did we miss something? Did we make a mistake? Did we have an error? That takes a lot more time.
Oh yeah.
So we got all that, and then back here, you can see we have, we're just finishing up on that Ford van over there. This rover, it's got a 4BT 6-speed Allison. And then you can see over here in the dungeon, anyway, we've got, you can see here, these cases are all ready to roll. They've all been, sandblasted, powder coated, cleaned, ready to go. And then we have, all the spare parts and pieces as we go. Brand new pans up here, powder coated, ready to go. These are all backup parts if we have a core that has anything that's bad.
Very cool.
Yeah, and then we're just in the process, like we built the oven for the powder coating. That thing gets used virtually every day. We got powder coating, sandblaster, parts washer, all that's done down here at the moment. We're in the process of remodeling and moving things around, but get things a little more efficient around here.
I think people want to see a little bit more about Betsy. Casey didn't tell us enough about her. And I know it's your baby, so.
Well, it is, and I bought that truck. I ordered it in January 1986. It was being delivered. Well, it was being delivered, and the big problem is that it got lost on the train coming from Detroit, and they had no idea where it was. I needed it for the first hot rod show of the season, because I came out of the hot rod industry as a manufacturer. And time was running short, and everybody's looking for this truck everywhere. And back then, a crew cab dually Ford was very, very rare. They finally found it. It was sitting on a train, on a car, in a holding yard in Renton, Washington. Huh. They finally found it. Then they loaded it on a truck, shipped it to Portland, and then it got lost again in the train yard. Then they finally found it. And once it got to the dealership, the salesman, who was a friend of mine I went to school with, everybody wanted it because, once again, nobody had ever seen one, and everybody wanted to take it for a drive and test it and all this kind of stuff. So he literally ended up, after all the headache we went through to just find it and get it there, when he left that evening, he parked cars completely around it, all new cars around it, blocked it in, and took all the keys home with him.
So nobody could test it.
Nobody was going to mess with it because it finally got there. You know,
and that's just a story of you getting it.
that was, yeah, and it was a couple months of hunting for it.
Wow.
Because it had been built, but nobody knew where it was. But
That's crazy.
But literally, when it gets on the train and goes somewhere, until they actually check it in, they have no idea.
Wow.
And this train of vehicles was sitting in the back of the yard, and nobody had any idea where it was.
Wow.
Until they literally physically went out and started following the trail, looking, because there was nothing to identify.
So when you got the truck, what all did you do, or did you just
Well,
use
originally I built a 40-foot gooseneck trailer. Myself and a friend of mine, we were the very first ones on the hot rod circuit with big trailers.
it? Oh, really?
Everybody was still hauling, little 10, 20-foot enclosed trailers or their pickup, and we were the first ones out there with 40-footers. And but I got the truck in April. First show was in Knoxville, 1st of May, and took it out and ran that. And by January, I had 91,000 on it. It was originally a 460 C6 truck, because the 6.9 I knew was not a good motor. The journals on it are about the size of a 289. They just didn't have any power. It wasn't going to work. So then what we did is, the motor was worn out come January. I contacted all the manufacturers of engines, trying to find their smaller engines, and they sent me blueprints. So I got blueprints from, Cat and, on down the line, and I got the one for the 5.9 Cummins, and I measured it up, and I thought, you know what, I think it'll fit. This truck cost $14,800 brand new, and literally, whatever it was, 8 months later, I paid $6,500 for a brand new Cummins crate motor.
Wow.
Had no idea if it would really fit because nobody had ever done it, and got the thing and put it in, and been there ever since. We're just now in the process of tearing it down. We're gonna make it a brand new truck from the ground up. Literally from the bottom of the tires to the
how it
top
looks
of the
now?
cab light.
Is it open?
I can open it. It's a filthy mess, and I haven't driven it in a little while. Just
How's the interior? That interior looks pretty good.
Oh yeah, no, I mean it's all in good shape. But
all blue. I like it.
But along with it, see, over the years, as parts became hard to get, my parts guy would call me when he was looking for something for somebody and say, hey, I found this, and it's the last one in existence, and you want it? Yep, order it in. So I have a brand new carpet kit, I have new dash pad, I have new door panels, I have new doors.
But all new old stock.
All new old stock Ford parts in a crate.
Wow.
Every piece of chrome, tailgate chrome, all the headlight bezels and grill. I've got everything for this truck brand new.
This is basically the truck you're going to get buried in, pretty much.
Yeah, unless somebody fights to get the truck and says the heck with it. Otherwise, I'm gonna be laying right there. I don't plan on getting another one. But anyway, but yeah, so everything for the truck is brand new. And I'm just getting ready to tear it down. Things have been crazy around here.
You got enough projects.
Well, only a couple. Got a little dark in here, but
Hell yeah. Looks like your neighborhood rats have been on here.
oh, probably.
So how many?
It doesn't matter. I'm tearing it apart, and it's going to be a brand new truck. We're going to go through the motor, transmission. I made it 4-wheel drive. Maybe 5-6 years ago. It was 2-wheel, and anyway, so I made it 4-wheel drive. I put the 6-speed transmission in, the rear end would actually finally bend. It was a Sterling rear end, and I was scuffing tires, so I had to change the rear end. But then you run into the problem with Ford that when you get into a disc brake rear end, they went to metric bolt pattern. Before that, they were all standard, so I would have had a standard front metric back, which doesn't work because I have to carry 2 spares on the road.
Yep.
And it was like, okay, what are we gonna do? So finally I decided to heck with it, made it 4-wheel drive.
Yeah.
And on the rare occasion I gotta pull somebody out of the sand or whatever, I got 4-wheel drive because I don't care now. Back then I didn't do it specifically. It was a $1,400 addition to make it 4-wheel drive, and I didn't do it because of the amount of road miles, and I just thought, you know what, I don't need that many more wearable parts to have to maintain.
Speaking of road miles, how many miles have you clocked in this truck?
I've got about 1.2 million on it.
1.2 million miles.
Yeah.
That is incredible.
And it just,
How many motors or transmissions over
well, the
that
transmissions, I never had a transmission fail. I put the Cummins in it in 1987. And then I played with transmissions because initially I went with a C6 and I built the adapters, and then I put a gear vendor overdrive behind it. Well, thing I found is pulling that 40-foot trailer, 2 problems. One, couldn't get the band in the C6 to lock up because the bottom end torque of the Cummins is so much that you can't get your pressures up high enough to lock it up properly, so you're burning the transmission up all the time. And the gear vendor overdrive couldn't handle it either, because the gear vendor overdrive is a clutch pack and a planetary out of a turbo 350. So within a few months I gave up on both, and they had come out with 308 gears for this, and this was back in the 55-mile-an-hour days, and I put the 308s in, and I went to the Allison 545, and I ran that one for about 750,000 miles. Then at that point I put the 5-speed in, then went to the 6-speed.
The 545?
But I've never had a transmission failure with an Allison. And the same thing when the motor, and over the years guys would ding me, can you do one for me? Well, it wasn't my business. It was something I'd do for hobby, and every now and then it was like, yeah, I'll do one. And I'd do a conversion for somebody, but you know, a lot of the guys, a lot of manufacturers out there, they've been through 30 trucks in the time that I'm going through one.
Yeah.
And now I'm just, you know, I always wanted it blue and chrome. The factory paint fell off and I had repainted it, and the factory sealer went bad and it fell off. And everybody loves the hard-earned patina, but I'm going to disappoint everybody because I am going to make it blue and chrome.
I think it'll look awesome. So you have the whole Ranger XLT trim?
Yeah.
Nice. I love bull noses with all the trim.
Yep.
Awesome.
Yeah, so we're going to do that, and then this truck here is actually a 1987, my dad's truck. It's got 120,000 original miles on it. It's a heavy 3/4 ton 351 C6, and other than the fact the paint fell off, 120,000 miles. The interior, my father maintained it. It's a brand new truck, and it's from Oregon, so there's no rust. I mean, it is clean. But what I'm going to do with it coming up, we have been leaving it sit here. Grandpa's truck, hard to part with.
Yeah.
So we're going to throw a paint job on it, and it's going to go up for sale.
Okay.
Because we just don't need, as you notice,
Yeah.
we don't need another truck.
Yeah, you might have
We
one or two.
we have a few too many.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, so that one will be coming up too. So we'll be going through, and the bed of it never had anything. It was carpeted with a piece of plywood and had a canopy on it. And I took the canopy off a few years back. The bed doesn't even need paint. It's original and it's flawless.
Wow.
Not even a scratch in it.
That's awesome.
So-
Well, I appreciate you giving us the tour.
Anyway,
I
yeah.
appreciate you getting Goldust back on the road. I appreciate all of this.
Well, it's been a fun project.
It's been a whirlwind of a week.
Well, that's kind of a normal around here. Things are usually pretty hectic and crazy. You know, it just, you know, the list goes on and on and on. This truck here we did about 4 years ago, about 400,000 on the transmission,
Wow.
and it normally is hauling 20 to 30,000 pounds.
Yeah.
You know, and it just, you know, just proof it. It's just the way to go.
I mean, everybody always said the best, for me, the best setup was Ford body, Cummins motor, Allison transmission.
You got it.
And now I got all of those.
And no power windows, and no power door locks, and no body computers. because if I get to the point I can't roll my windows up and down and lock and unlock my doors, somebody take my keys.
There you go.
So,
Awesome.
but anyway, thank you, and we really appreciate it.
I appreciate
it's
you.
been fun, yeah.
Thank you.
And you're always welcome to stop by. We're here 7 days a week. Call and we'll open the gate if it's after hours or the weekends.
Heck yeah.
So,
thank you, Dave.
Okay.
Well, let me outro you guys. So we've had a whole bunch of fun. I hope you guys enjoyed seeing this series, and this is not the end of Goldust. This is the new beginning of Goldust. So as always, if you can, smash that like button. It really helps us out. If you have any questions, comments, drop them down below, and we'll catch you in the next video.